Yo, you guys, this is Blacklist of the Abyss, and you're watching my review for the Irregular at Magic High School, aka Mahoka Koko no Ritose, Episode 11. Alright, this one starts off by showing us how Tatsuya arrived at the scene where those no-head dragon dudes were at. Last week we saw Mikihiko's point of view and how he got there. This time we see Tatsuya's. And, yeah. After they both arrive there at the same time, take care of the three dudes, they get to talking, and Tatsuya is pretty much trying to give Mikihiko more confidence, alright? Because he is pretty good. He's telling him, like, that was impressive what you did. You literally gave us the best possible scenario, alright? And he tries to give Mikihiko some tips because he can tell Mikihiko doesn't think he's as good as he could slash should be, alright? And the biggest tip he gives him involves his spell speed because that's what his biggest concern is. And he tells Mikihiko, listen, alright, there are too many components to your spells, alright? The more components there are to your spells, the more time it's going to take to go through them all, alright? So just cut down on them, and then you'll be good, alright? Or you'll be better, alright? So I would assume that while he wasn't exactly happy to hear it at first, I'd assume that he would take that into consideration, take that advice to heart, especially since he ended up not showing up the second day of the competition or something like that. Whichever day it was, second. I think it was the second. Oh, whatever, it doesn't matter. All right. So I would assume he was practicing or something like that. Don't really remember, but I would assume that's what he was doing. All right. Now, Mikihiko ends up leaving to go contact police or something like that, the security there, and Kazuma ends up showing up, alright? And I'll admit, I didn't catch this at first. Or I didn't catch this at first. But after watching the episode the second time through, I realized something, right? That Kazuma is pretty much showing us how Tatsuya has progressed so far in the series. Because the way this series works is that Tatsuya progresses quite a bit, but it's so subtle that you don't really realize it at first until a character actually mentions it to you. And here Kazuma is letting us know. He says, and I quote, well, from the Crunchyroll version, for someone so indifferent towards others, that's unusual, Special Officer. Right? And he's referring to the fact that Tatsuya actually cared enough about Mikihiko to give him advice on how to improve. Because the way Tatsuya was originally, when like in episode 1, he only really cared about Miyuki, alright? That's the only person he cared about. He didn't go to First High to make friends. He went there to protect her because he's her guardian, alright? That's the only reason he was there, to be with her. But then slowly but surely, you see him start to get more friends and actually begin to care about them more than he did before. Because the way he was before, he probably, if he had to choose between Miyuki and the others, he would choose Miyuki, easy. But now, the way he's progressing right now, it's as if rather than trying to choose between the two, he would try and find a way to get both scenarios, so to save everybody. So you can tell he's actually he's actually progressing now. All right. As a matter of fact, it's not just him caring enough to give Mikihiko advice on improving. He's actually just enjoying their company now. Right? And this was proven by Honoka because after this scene, we see the NSC, the Nine Schools competition. It starts up. We hear about First High winning 2 titles in a row, and they're going for the third. But then we go to Battle Board, which is Mari's competition. And before it starts, you see Tatsuya just enjoying himself. He's enjoying himself. He's enjoying his friends. He's enjoying the conversation. He's just enjoying the interactions and everything. Right? So you can just tell he's definitely progressed. All right. And the only reason I even noticed that was because Kazuma said that one line. All right. So subtle progression, but progression nonetheless. So this part was this part was actually pretty good because it lets you know that Tatsuya is in fact changing and he is progressing. Because that's one of the complaints people have about his character is that he's just bland and he just doesn't grow. He's just too perfect, but he's not perfect, and this shows that because he does have room to grow because he obviously is growing. So obviously there must be room to grow if he's growing. So that's I just figured that's something worth pointing out and talking a couple minutes about, which I did talk a couple minutes about it. Um, But moving on, all right. Mari performs in Battleboard, or competes in Battleboard, I guess you could say. And she's really confident, but Erica just isn't impressed at all. She just does not like Mari. All right, and you'll find out soon. You'll find out soon. I don't know how many episodes it'll be, but it's in this arc, so you will find out. All right. So yeah, that'll be interesting. But anyway, Mari ends up winning her qualifier and making it into the semifinals. And this is thanks to her fortification skills, and that it was pretty legit. We learned from Tatsuya that fortification isn't actually a spell to strengthen an object or a substance. What it does is it anchors the components of that substance or object to a relative position. All right, so let's say someone was attacking you, all right, and you were using fortification magic on your body, all right. They could hit you, but your body wouldn't give it all right, because your position has been anchored. So it's not, it's your body, your bones, your skin, your muscle, everything, yourself, the components, everything, all right. So, but better example, all right. Let's say someone's attacking you with a knife, all right. Usually, if someone's attacking you with a knife, this is the skin, by the way, the knife would pierce your skin like this, assuming the knife is coming from this direction, right? The knife would hit your skin, and then it would pierce and go through like, and then just go through like that. However, if you're using fortification magic, the knife will hit your skin, but your skin's position is anchored, so even if the knife hits, it can't move, it can't give in like that. It'll just stay like this, so the knife won't do anything, right? So that's how fortification magic actually works, all right? And she's using it to anchor herself and the board together as if they're one object. So she's using fortification magic to anchor her position on the board so that even if she's hit, she can't fall off the board. The board is going to go with her, all right? So that's, Tatsuya says it, like, that's a unique way of using fortification magic. Um, and yeah, Mari, she does that, and she gets first place by a wide margin. It wasn't even close. But again, it's just a qualifier, so she made it into the semifinals, and that's it. I don't. What are the semifinals? Well, it doesn't matter. We'll see it later. Um, but after this, the next scene involves Tatsuya talking with some of his superiors. So Sanada, Kazuma, Yanagi, Yamanaka, freaking Kyoko Fujibayashi, man. Kyoko's awesome. Um, yeah, he's talking with some of his superiors. Sanada refers to him as a strategic class magician. Now, what that is exactly, I know, because I read the light novels. Angie Serious, man. Angie Serious, right? Freaking awesome, all right? But whatever. Whatever. Strategic class magicians. I'm not going to tell you what they are. You're going to have to figure that out for yourself. Well, you can't really figure it out for yourself because that could literally mean anything. Um, well, technically, I guess it can't mean anything. Well, just wait. Just wait. You'll find out eventually. All right, you'll find out eventually what a strategic class magician is. Just know that Tatsuya is one of them. All right. Um, but yeah, during this whole talk with all of his superiors and stuff, we get the confirmation that those three guys were in fact from No Head Dragons. From No Head Dragon. However, their intentions and why they were actually there, that those are still unknown. They still just don't know. They need to do more investigating about that. Um, but after that short little talk about business, they kind of just get to just hanging out and catching up and stuff, you know. All these dudes know about him being Taurus Silver, all of them. Yamanaka was asking like, "Yo, hey, do these guys know about you being Silver?" It's like, no, of course not, man. Come on, man. And actually, I don't even. They didn't even tell you her name. They didn't tell you her name or Yanagi's name. Um, but her name is Kyoko Fujibayashi. Um, her name is not a spoiler. Like some people, their names would be a spoiler. Like Mayumi Saigusa, that's a spoiler because she's a Saigusa, 10 Master Clans, you know? But her name isn't a spoiler. Yeah, so Kyoko, she actually asks if Tatsuya is competing because he would do well because he has Flash Cast, Material Burst, and Mist Dispersion. Alright? Mist Dispersion it disperses substances at a molecular level. It's a rank A magic, and it's top. all three of those are top secret military grade magics. It's like, yo, Tatsuya, man, this dude's legit. Like, he's so awesome that you sometimes forget that he sucks. You do, you seriously do. All right, you sometimes just forget that he sucks, um, because as far as the basics go, I'm sure I've said this before, but when it comes to the basics, he's just not good. He's just not good. All right, and you might look at all this stuff you could do and think, man, he's so OP. But when it comes to a legitimate fight where the opponent is going all out and not underestimating him, Tatsu's going to have a tough time. All right, and I know that from experience because I've seen it. I've seen this multiple times in the light novels. The dude has a hard time in legitimate fights against people who have actual skill. All right, so yeah. So he's got all these OP moves and stuff, but they only work if he's fighting someone who is either not going all out or is underestimating him, or some other type of situation. Maybe it's a surprise attack and he's like sniping them or something. So it's only like situations like that where, excuse me, where he's actually OP. But any other situation, he has trouble. Um, but yeah, as far as those magics go, you'll learn about them later. I might have actually mentioned one of them already. I may have. I kind of want to make the connection, but I don't remember if I've actually mentioned it before or not. So if I haven't mentioned it before, I don't want to actually just come out and say it and spoil. But, well, you can probably make the connection yourself based on the fact that I said misdispersion is dispersing substances at the molecular level. All right. So you can probably figure it out from that. I'm not referring to his ability to uh freaking the thing where he changes activation sequences and crap. It's not that. It's something else. I think. Actually, I'm actually kind of confused with misdispersion myself, because I remember reading the light novels and thinking it was one thing, and then it was they wrote it like it was another thing. I don't know. Misdispersion confuses me, but whatever. Um, again, it'll later. All right, you'll learn about it later. So, yeah. Um, but a couple things that happened here that they didn't mention, that happened in the light novels that they didn't. That literally, in this is like a typical episode of the regular Magic High School where they cut stuff out of the light novel, but the things they cut out are all conversations, and the conversations they cut out, I don't really blame them for cutting out because it's not like there was much there. Like there's some interesting scenes, like one with Tatsuya and Mayumi, but it wasn't that big of a deal to like it. There was one where Tanti was observing Mayumi while she was doing crowd ball, which was the like tennis shooting one, the shooting tennis thing. Like there was one where he was observing her and the way she was using magic and stuff like that, and the way he was observing her was like it was actually stressing her out because she could just like feel his gaze, like not like how people can feel bloodlust. Well, she could feel the fact that he was like examining her. It was weird. Like so, like it was stuff like that, but it's not like that big of a deal. There was one scene where Mizuki was talking about how Miami has such a huge fan club that um, there 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 have been some people who actually use Miami as like the main character of Dojin, like like Dojinshi and stuff. It was actually kind of funny because Erica was like, "Wait a second, Mizuki, exactly how do you know this?" Right? If your interests are in this area, we might have to rethink our friendship. Like, so there were some funny things in there, but nothing I really blame them for cutting out. But here in the light novels is something worth mentioning because this conversation was actually longer than they made it in the anime. And one of the things they mentioned was that they talked about third eye for a little bit, and they mentioned that third eye is like a long range targeting system. So yeah, not much, but it's something at least. And they also mentioned that Yamanaka, um, for the record, Yamanaka is a doctor. He's not like your normal soldier. He's actually a doctor, and they were messing around with him because Tatsuya wasn't being like the friendliest guy to him, though he's not friendly really to anyone. But you know, he wasn't exactly like friendly with Yamanaka. Um, so people were so Kyoko was messing with him, saying, well, you know, you can't really expect him to have a positive attitude towards someone who's asked permission to perform human experimentation. And then everyone was like laughing and like having a good time. And I was like, wait, what? This dude has asked his superiors directly to perform human experimentation, and they're treating it like a joke. I'm like, wait, whoa, like exactly. If you can treat human experimentation as a joke, then you can only imagine the kind of things they've been through. Like, so, like seriously, and the fact that this dude, like, yeah, it's I just that's I feel like that's worth mentioning. The fact that this dude has asked to perform human experimentation before, and they're just treating it lightly. So that just goes to show you that they've been through some crazy freaking stuff before. All right, but yeah, that's really it for that scene. I talked a long time about that. Dang. The next thing we see is the next day. Mayumi is competing, um, and Tatsuya. This is another scene where Tatsuya is actually showing concern for his friends because he sits down in front of Honoka and he's actually concerned over whether she can see or not and stuff like that. He's concerned over Mikihiko because he wasn't there, you know. So this is again Tatsuya's showing concern for his friends is strange for him because he doesn't do that. So he's clearly progressed as a character. But Mayumi ends up winning, perfect score, 100 out of 100. And one of the magics she used here was called multi-scope, which they didn't mention, but it's kind of like she's a sensor pretty much, like just like Tatsuya is a sensor, she's a sensor as well. Multi-scope isn't as good as what he can do, but it's still pretty freaking good. So they didn't mention that, but that's she can look at the same thing from like multiple angles and stuff like that, and like it's like crazy. It's pretty good. Um, you didn't mention they'll mention it later at some point. They have to, especially once they get to Yokohama. They have to mention it because because of what she sees Tatsuya do. But let me not even get into that. All right. So where was I? Oh yeah, Miami wins. All right. At first, Kai's actually doing pretty well. At this point, both the girls and the guys have won in speed shooting. Mari made it into the semifinals for Battleboard, and Hatsuri made it into the semifinals for Battleboard as well. However, unlike Mari, he barely made it in, and that is because his CAD was not the way it's the this dude Kinoshita, what is his engineer, and the guy isn't that bad. Um, but it's just that Hatsuri's like just messed up in the head because he's like that conversation he had with Kirihara and everything. He's just like he's looking down on himself. He's kind of being Mikihiko right now. Essentially, he's just looking down on himself and everything, and he's just not in it. All right, so he's just not. Yeah, so he's just not. He made it into semifinals, but he's just not at the top of his game. All right. And I remember thinking, like, man, this dude, he needs Tatsuya as his engineer. They need to get Tatsuya in there. And then as soon as I said that, they decided to ask Tatsuya to help out. So it wasn't for Hatsuri, that was for women's crowd ball. But, you know, whatever. Which is the thing that Mayumi did with the tennis shooting thing. I mentioned it earlier. And when Miyuki goes to his room at night to actually ask him to do it, you can see on his computer there's a diagram of that CAD that he gave to Leo at the end of the episode. And when you see it, it looks broken, like it's separated. It's like, okay, that's interesting. All right, but and at the end of the episode, when he does actually give that to Leo, it's in one piece. Now you just have to find it now. Never mind. Never mind. Uh, that was so lame. Uh, it might not have been in one piece. Maybe it's just because of the lack of space in the case. But lack of space in the case. Wow. I'm not at the top of my game right now. I'm like at the bottom of my game. These jokes are not funny. Hey, maybe they are. Who knows? Hopefully they are. I forgot where I was. Oh yeah, yeah. I don't know. Well, actually, I do know what's going on with that cat, but I'm pretending like I don't know. Um, for the sake of the anime-only viewers. Not like I've cared so much to this point. I've been talking about light novel stuff all day long, all month long, all series long. I've been talking about light novel stuff. But anyway, whatever. Crowd ball. Okay, crowd ball. Tatsuya is working on Mayumi's CAD, and Mayumi starts like fake flirting with him, like because she's teasing him essentially. She loves teasing. Tatsuya is like her favorite pastime. All right, this girl just loves teasing people, especially Tatsuya, and but it actually ends up leading to a pretty good scene because she ends up talking to Tatsuya somewhat seriously, kind of jokingly, but kind of seriously as well, and telling him about how she enjoys his company because he doesn't give her special treatment like everyone else. He treats her with the respect she deserves as a senpai, as his senior, but he doesn't respect her to the point that most people do because of her status and because of her family. So, and she actually likes that about him, about the way he treats her, and she refers to him as like a little brother almost, because she has an older brother, she has younger sisters, twins actually, Kanami and Izumi, which isn't much of a spoiler, but I just figured I didn't need to say that. I just felt like it. It's really not a spoiler at all. Don't worry about it. But yeah, she just enjoys his company and thinks of him as a little brother. So yeah, that's interesting. Um, Yeah, moving on. Mayumi competes again and she wins again. She wins at crowd ball, and there was actually a competition she had earlier that they skipped. Um, like the first competition that she had, they didn't even show it. The one that they showed in this episode, the one with the rifle and shooting, that was actually her second one. I think it was you could only do two competitions, so it wasn't different competitions. It was the same competition, but just different rounds. I think like it was like qualifiers and finals or something like that. And they showed in the anime the finals, but they didn't show the round before that. So um, yeah, not a big deal. It's like you know, they talked. That's when they talked about multi-scope and her magic. Um, not that big of a deal. I mean, kind of, but not really. I don't feel like mentioning it. So it's not. So it must not be. It's not that big of a deal. Um, but yeah. Oh yeah, we saw Izumi in this episode. Um, she's not exactly the biggest fan of Tatsuya, and it's not because she's discriminating against him because he's a weed. It's just that she has pride and she doesn't want her junior to have to help her out. So she's just telling Tatsuya, no, I'll take care of everything. You just go. All right, and that's why Mayumi tells him like she's really not a bad person, because she isn't. She has her pride. All right, and yeah, one of the last things we see is Canon. She competes in ice pillar break or icicle break or whatever they want to call it, and she wins. It was pretty legit too. I remember because light novels don't usually have that many pictures in them at all. But one of the pictures that this volume of the light novel had was Canon winning at ice pillar break with the ice pillar breaking in the background. You just see her like standing tall like this, and it was awesome. So I'm glad they had that scene in there. That was really cool. The magic she used to do it was Mind Genesis. Well, I don't remember what they called it in the anime, but in the light novel, it's called Mind Genesis. Right? She essentially uses Earth vibrations in order to kind of just have them act as landmines. Simple. She uses vibrations underneath the ice pillars to have them act as landmines, and boom, they fall apart. Right. So Mayumi, Mari, Canon, all the girls are doing well. The guys, on the other hand, aren't doing that well. Again, like I said, Hatsuri, he's not at the top of his game right now. There are others that I could mention right now, but I don't know if they're going to mention them later or not, so I'll just keep that to myself for now. As far as the guys who are competing that we know of, it's Hatsuri, Kirihara, and Jumonji. I'm sure Morisaki will be in the first year's part, on like the rookie competition, but right now that hasn't started yet. So those are like the three guys that we actually know who are competing. So Um, yeah. So I guess Jumonji is gonna get first place in in everything he does because he's freaking Jumonji. All right, but I guess the other two just aren't doing that well. I guess. Yeah, and because the guys aren't doing as well, they're gonna need to. The first years are actually gonna have a decent role because the points they get from there will actually have an impact on whether or not First High gets their third straight victory in the competition. Right, so yeah, and that's it. There was that party in Tatsuya's room at the end where literally everybody in the main group just started coming into the room, and you only hear Miyuki. She's like, "Can I come in?" He's like, "Sure." But then it's like freaking Adam Rose's the Exotic Express just coming into his freaking room. All right, like the freaking bunny, freaking Captain Comic, the girl in the Captain America costume, like all these freaking. Right, no one's gonna get that reference, but whatever, not a big deal. Adam, just look up Adam Rose on YouTube or something. Um, Adam's in ADAM, not ATOM. Like it's a name, Adam Rose, the Exotic Express. But yeah, that's really it for the episode. I already talked about Leo uh, getting that CAD to test out, and yeah, that's it, you guys. That's it for the episode, and I'll give this one a 7.5 out of 10 because there wasn't too much that happened, but the stuff that did happen was actually really good, like that progression for Tatsuya's character, plus that little conversation we had between Mayumi and Tatsuya. Excuse me. Plus the conversation Tatsuya had with Kazuma, Kyoko, Sanada, Yanagi, Dr. Yamanaka. So I'll give it a 7.5 out of 10. And yeah, that's it, you guys. Look forward to future. I keep saying that, but really, look forward to future episodes because the arcs always start off slow, but that's because it's building things up. And then as the arc goes on, things are going to get more and more exciting. Like, for instance, there was something that was said by Tatsuya in this episode that I specifically did not mention because it's too big of a hint as to what's going to happen later. All right, so they are building things up, even if you realize it or not. So yeah, uh, just look forward to it. And yeah, that's it, you guys. Episode gets a 7.5 out of 10. Right? I honestly thought this was going to be a quick review. I remember looking at the time here and seeing like 12 minutes, and I was already like halfway through the episode, more than halfway through the review, and I'm like, okay, this is going to be pretty quick. I might get done in 17 minutes. 10 minutes later, I'm still going. I swear. I need. Yeah. See you guys. See you guys next time. I'll put my live reaction here. Oh, okay. I know it. They're going back in time a little bit and showing what happened. Okay, yeah, I get it. I get it. That's cool. Pretty legit. Oh man. Haha, Kazuma. Yes. Yes. Charizard and Charmeleon and Charmander are happy that the Night Schools competition is finally starting. Third straight title. Battle board. Oh, this is gonna be legit, Mari. Not like they're gonna show the whole thing, but still. Hmm. And they look away. Mari Watanabe. She knows she's gonna win. She can tell. No, I know that actually makes a lot of sense. Uh-oh, here we go. Oh, Fujibayashi, Kyoko. Where is she? Where's she? Where's Kyoko? Where's Fujibayashi? Strategic classmanship. Wait, where's Kyoko? Oh, there we go. Called it. Then again, I read the light novels, so not really fair. No, of course not. You think they let Tourist Silver be the 9 schools competition? It's a little unfair, don't you think? Flashcast. Hmm. Hmm. NSC, that's a good thing. Yeah, that's good. I'll call it that from now on instead of 9 schools competition. Too much of a mouthful. Top secret military grade magic. So that's because you've got a bunch of freaking magicians around and scions and crap. Duh. Of course you'd collapse. You think this girl can match the elfin shooter or whatever her name is? Of course not. She's gonna get dominated. Oh, what? Hmm. Not even fair. She's so good. She's like on the ground. How could I not beat the best person here? So surprising. So disappointed. Hmm. Just go to Tatsuya. Just do it. Just do it. You know you want to. Hmm. Hmm. You aren't gonna get him. You aren't gonna get him, Mayumi. Pouty face. It's like shooting tennis. It's awesome. Pokeball. Oh, cannon, yes. Ah, yes, this is gonna be the most awesome thing ever. Yes, cannon. Mm. Dude, everybody's there. It's a party. Interesting way to end the episode, but I don't mind. Planting the seeds. They're planting the seeds. That's all I'll say. Yeah, I guess that's it, you guys. See you guys next time.